sets of icons and backgrounds. Moreover, hitting the multitasking key exposes a menu that slides up from the bottom and lets you arrange widgets and wallpapers on the home screens, choose between various home screen animations, or quickly apply themes that you've used before. You can also activate or disable the photo space and music space full screen widgets. The former lets you browse your photo albums in a stylish view, while the latter is just a quick and pretty music player that also displays the lyrics to your favorite tunes. As you can see, Oppo's stock apps and menus are painted black and look quite stylish, but they don't compromise functionality or user pleasantries. Oppo has seemingly rebuilt almost each app from the ground up, presenting fresh yet not all sorts of better takes on familiar apps such as contacts, email, calendar, clock, calculator, files, and anything in between. Oppo made user-centric features a priority. The photo app, for example, is rich with filters and frames that can make for some pretty funny and well-done collages. Or the Files app has a file save feature that lets you lock files and folders with a password. There is also a built-in performance optimization app called Security Center. Basically, Oppo condensed memory cleanup, data monitoring, call blocking, system permission monitoring, energy saving, and guest mode facilities in it. The app is of very good quality and pretty much renders installing third-party power tools meaningless unless you have a personal favorite that you insist upon. Another feature highlight is Oppo's gesture and motion control system. While the screen is turned off, one can double tap the screen to wake it up, draw an O to start the camera app, or control music playback. With the screen on, you can take a screenshot using 3 fingers, use 2 fingers to adjust the volume, double tap the home button to lock the screen, activate the camera with a finger gesture, and swipe from the bottom left and right to launch or exit apps. Screen off gestures are customizable, so feel free to design your own custom shortcuts. One can also set specific hours where the smartphone will power on or power off, or make use of the quiet time function, which cuts the Oppo R7's contact with the outside world for a specific time, letting only calls and messages from whitelisted contacts make it through to you. Now, objectively, Oppo's vision for Android won't cater to everyone's taste, and being stuck on KitKat for the time being isn't great in this day and age, but this doesn't change the fact that ColorOS makes a supremely usable, lively phone out of the Oppo R7. Taking a look at the Oppo R7's hardware performance shows that the smartphone is spec'd out appropriately for a mid-range device. It matches Qualcomm's Snapdragon 615, which contains an octa-core 1.5 GHz CPU and the Adreno 405 GPU with a hearty 3 GB of DDR3 RAM memory. However, Oppo did cut some monetary corners by sticking only 16 GB of internal storage. Thankfully, the micro SD slot lets you expand the storage space, but it also sacrifices the dual SIM functionality. Also, Android's inability to store app data on the micro SD card limits the amount of apps you can keep installed on the 10 GB or so of internal storage that's ultimately available to end users. In performance benchmarks, the R7 performs acceptably and as expected from a mid-range smartphone, but it doesn't deliver anything beyond expectations. The unimpressive results in 3D graphics tests indicate that the R7 is no good for gaming beyond the shimmering island of casual titles. That aside, Qualcomm's CPU and the abundance of RAM do a very good job handling the essential processing tasks. Although ColorOS is rich in graphics and animations, apps boot fast and there's hardly any serious lag or stutter to complain of. Connectivity-wise, the Oppo R7 is a 4G LTE Cat4 connected device and works with all the essential GSM, UMTS and FDD TDE LTE spectrums thanks to its Qualcomm modem. Therefore, chances are you won't find yourself out of range in most parts of the world. The stock browser is put together by Oppo and offers some nice functionality such as setting a default search engine, traceless browsing and no picture mode to save bandwidth. There's also night mode and download management included. Oppo's browser is not the fastest one that we've used though. If you insist on Chrome, it's right there waiting for you inside the Google folder, and other browsers can be downloaded from Google Play. Now, how does the Oppo R7 fare in the all-important camera department? Well, Oppo went completely off the deep end with the R7's camera. Check out what we're talking about. There's a 13 megapixel main shooter paired with a generous 8 megapixel front cam. With cameras like this, it's obvious that the R7 has you covered from both sides. But let's dig a little deeper into the intricacies of this camera setup, shall we? we? On the R7's back lies an ever so slightly bulging 13-megapixel ISO cell camera with Schneider Kreuznach optics. It's adorned by a single LED flash. The camera takes pictures in 4:3 or 16:9 ratio, and using an Oppo software trick, the camera can also stitch together pictures into a 25-megapixel Ultra HD resolution image, which allows for an additional depth zooming. The R7's cameras are complemented by an elaborate camera app that literally feels like a photographic toy shop. Styled quite noticeably after the iOS camera app, Oppo's can be that or anything you want. By default, the camera boots into normal regime, which is your typical automatic point-and-shoot mode. Chances are this is how most users will be using the R7's camera, so it better be doing a good job. But does it? Well, we went out and we shot some photos on a beautiful morning to put the 13-megapixel camera through its paces, and our main impression from this experience is that the Oppo R7 has a tendency to overexpose images. That's nothing a little bit of ISO adjustment can resolve, but bear in mind you need to fire up expert mode to access this setting, and all the button tapping involved could take precious seconds away from capturing that perfect